So, yes, touching on the fact that you didn't listen to your body, do you
Hmm.
think that that kind of puts you in a better mode of taking care of yourself? Like, once you sat down, like, did it open your eyes and was like, okay, Cassandra, like I got to get it together. Like, I'm not going to be able to
Oh,
carry it out if I'm not myself.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely was a reality check, because during that time when I worked in corporate, not only was did I have the corporate career, I was married, so
Yeah,
you got a spouse, you got kids,
right.
you're responsible for, and so you're making sure they're good. But what you realize is, as a woman, as wanting to be a whole woman, you really cannot provide the care that you want to provide for your loved ones if you're not in overflow.
Yes,
And
yes,
so, yeah, it
yes.
was a big time wake up for me. And I'll tell any woman the healing journey is ongoing.
Yeah,
It's not like you get to a point like, oh, I'm here, and you can, no, it's ongoing. I
it's ongoing.
promise you, even right now today, Cassandra still invest in coaching and making sure that I'm in overflow so I can serve the women I'm called to serve.
Yes, 100%. And then it's one of those things where it's like you can't pour from a cup if your cup isn't filled. Like you can't fill someone else's cup if your cup isn't
Yeah.
filled, right?
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
do that. And
Yeah.
then wanting to like touch on the business, like what would you say has been maybe a big challenge or one of the some of the biggest challenges you faced in your business? Because right, it's something new, right? And even
Yeah.
though we're trying to get in a more natural state. I know for the black community, we're trying to get in a more natural state.
Yeah.
So how has that been, like presenting your business, like getting people to get on board
Yeah.
because it's something new and it's something different, and people know it's effective because you've been 7 years remission, right? So like, what have those challenges been like?
Oh my goodness. With being a black woman in business, a lot of us are aware that one of the biggest hurdles to overcome is access to capital.
Hmm.
A lot of us, we come from situations where we don't have just a big wad of cash just
The
sitting
same round, yeah, yeah,
to lay the best foundation for your business where you're starting out with being able to have a team so you're not doing everything on your own and that sort of thing. And so being that one woman show for a long time, honestly, I've been in business 5 years. This is the first year that I've had um, consistency in being able to bring on um, a social media agency to help with managing the social media pages and just various other levels of support.
yeah.
So that's been the biggest challenge. And then I feel um, another thing that's challenging is we live in a world where information overload, people have access to so much information
Yes,
that it
yes,
takes a little longer now to build trust
yes.
with potential clients and customers, because there's so many people out there that and they have the right to do their due diligence. However, it makes it hard on us as CEOs because this is our livelihood.
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
you look at these corporations. Don't want to put any corporation under the bus, but
yeah,
it doesn't affect their day to day. But
yeah.
for women CEOs like myself, like you, um, our business like I said, is our livelihood. It determines um, making sure bills are paid, making sure we're able to give back. Because a lot of times, small businesses, we're the ones
Yes.
who's pushing change in our community and giving back, even
Yes.
when we may not have reached the 6, 7 figure milestone. We're the ones who are bringing about change in our community.
Yes, and then that's the thing is too, because I know for me, like even though just being a podcast, like any way that I can help my community out, I will. Like I don't care if I have to share your flyer 1,000 times, or I don't care if I need to just put you in contact with someone that is going to help you see your vision out, because it's important to have that support system. And as a small business, a lot of us don't have that support system, right? Like we're just going off of our gut, we're going off of what we feel and what we know to be true. So has there ever been a time in your business where you just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. Regardless of what it is, I'm just gonna go for it, regardless of how uncomfortable I may feel, regardless if I don't know the end result. Like I'm taking a big risk. Like has there ever been in 5 years? I'm pretty sure there has. But just
Oh
has there been a moment where you're just like, I'm just going for it.
yeah.
Like and that's it.
Oh yeah. Honestly, it's funny because that recently happened for me. This year I was invited to a book signing in New Orleans during Essence Fest weekend.
Yeah.
And I was super excited. Like, Nola, here I come. It was actually my first time going to New Orleans and
Yes.
even my first time at Essence Fest.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the day of the book signing, it was canceled.
Mm.
The promoter was issued a cease and desist.
Mm.
And this is, authors are here ready to set up. And I've already invested, anyone who's been to New Orleans doing Essence Fest, the investment with that, with hotels,
Yes.
the
It's a
prices
lot.
go up and all that sort of
Yes.
stuff. Not to mention all the books
That you
uh,
brought with you.
that was purchased
Yeah.
for that event for it to be canceled. And so I was like, okay, Lord, what's the learning lesson behind it? What I'm supposed to
Yeah.
get from this? And as life would have it, the book signing being canceled, the fact that it was canceled went viral on
Mm.
social media and everything. And so now I'm actually having conversations with a couple bookstores as well as one college who's looking to have my book um, at their
Awesome.
location. And so now I'm able, which one place has already given me a yes, and they have some books there. But that
Yes.
otherwise, there would have been a long delay with me ordering
Yes.
it, Amazon printing it, and all that sort of stuff. Um, but yeah, you just never know why things happen because
Yes.
honestly, and this is for all my people out there who are authors. Amazon is a great place to have your book. Yeah, good distribution with it being on Amazon, it puts it to global. You're able to reach just about anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Um, but it's always nice to have it your book in other places as well.
Yeah.
So get out to your bookstores, whether it's local or out of town, because you're building um, community.
Yes, I love that. So I just wanted to shift gears into something else. So at the You're Not Done Yet podcast is all about purpose. And a question that I love to ask my guests is, do you feel like you are walking in your God-given purpose?
You better know it.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know I am because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur right now is sexy, it's the cool
Oh
thing, it's the
yeah.
it thing.
Yeah.
But for Cassandra, I'm not doing it for those reasons. If I'm just being real with y'all,
Yes.
it would have been easier for me to say, I will go back, have a career as a gerontologist, get my coin, and come home.
Yeah.
But this, what I'm doing, I love it, but I know, and I know is God's vision for my life.
Hmm.
And I'll tell anyone, if you're unclear about God's plan for your life, sit, get some quiet time, because a lot of
Yes.
times we're always talking,
Yes,
but we
ma'am.
never listen.
Yeah.
So do your mental health detox. Take 5, 7 days would be even better. 20 minutes a day. Sit
Yes.
quiet.
Yes.
You're listening. God has a plan for you, but you may not know it because you're not listening to him.
Yes.
And just
Yes.
get you a journal. Hashtag kneeling at the throne, my prayer journal.
I
But
know that's
get you a
right.
journal and write and just pray
Yes.
to God, write those prayers out, and that way you'll have a record. Because you
Mm-hmm.
may forget. If you're
Yeah.
like me, there's a chance you may forget as time goes on what you prayed
Yes.
for and how God brought it to fruition in your
Yeah,
life.
in your
But
life.
you
Yes.
pray, write it out, and then sit and listen.
Yes, and then I want to touch on something that you said too, and I think that's very important. That God has a plan for you, but you just have to listen. You have
Mhm.
to be still enough to listen. And I know for me personally, like God was working on me on that thing. He was working. Because for one, I'm like, okay, God, I hear you, but where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Or God, I'm listening, but it's not coming fast enough.
Yeah.
Right? And then you start to go and do your own thing. And then when your own thing gets shot down, you're like, oh, boo hoo, I'm so sad. Like, God, why? Like, why would you do that? And the whole time, God is just like, but if you just would have sat down when I told you to, if you would have just wrote it down like I told you to, or listened like I told you to, I wouldn't have to kick you 10 steps back just for
Yeah.
you to go from my step one and on, right? And like I made a video the other day. I said I'm just so tired of God yelling at me. Like just stop yelling at me, God. Like I am going to do it the first time. I'm gonna do it the first time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it the first time. But was there
I'm gonna be
ever a
obedient.
Yes, but was there ever a moment like that in your business though, where God just was like, Cassandra, I told you, but you wanted to go do Cassandra and not go do God, right? You know, cause he be working it in me, and I just be like, okay, okay, all right, all right.
I tell you, 2020, everybody know we will remember the year 2020,
Oh yeah,
right?
100%.
Uh, I can remember January 2020. That was when God let me know, okay, it's time for you to step away from your full time job and go full throttle with the business. And so I did just that. And then we know a few months later, the world shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lord, now I know I heard you. Why you got me sitting at this house? The world shut down.
Like, what am I supposed to do?
But in the quietness, that's why I tell you it's something powerful about the stillness
Yes.
and quietness. Because
Yes.
as the shutdowns happening, of course, we saw what happened with George Floyd
Yes.
and the devastation with that, as well as Breonna Taylor, and as well as COVID-19. And we saw how it impacted the Black community, COVID-19.
Yeah. Yes.
And I thought about it. I was like, okay, Lord, I'm listening.
Yeah.
And I said, Cassandra, what happened to you? More likely than not, your healthcare experience resulted in the
Yeah.
fact that you're a Black woman.
Hmm.
It wasn't that you didn't have access to health care. It wasn't
Yeah.
that you didn't have insurance. You went misdiagnosed for over 10 years
Hmm.
because doctors just expected you to live with pain because you're a Black woman.
Come on. Come
And
on.
and so I was like, okay, Lord, because honestly, before then, my business, although it was tailored for women, I served. There wasn't any catering of minority women, you
Mm-mm.
know, and through that, I realized that yes, I need to be more proactive in supporting my sisters, and so that's what's brought about some changes with my company to where I do cater to Black women. Although I
Yeah.
have worked with, other racial groups, I'm very intentional about supporting my sisters.
Yes. 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 As you should. As you
Yeah,
should.
and so God had to, because honestly, I'm gonna be real. Initially when I start putting that out in the world, in the atmosphere, I did get some throwback from it.
Mm.
People was like, "Oh, you're being prejudiced and this and that," and
No.
you know. And I just, like I said, I knew that that was God's plan for me, and so I still do to this day push forward with it because I know His plan is the best plan.
Yes. Yes, always. And then the thing is too, like his plan is always gonna supersede yours. So
Yeah,
yeah, I put something out and okay, yeah, I got some blowback about it, but I'm just doing what God told me to do. And
yeah,
just because you don't see it that way, don't mean
yeah,
that that's not what it is, you know?
yeah.
And then so another question that I have for you is that what would you say to someone or to people who are afraid to take that next step, right? So like they have the business or they have the idea, they have the vision, but it's like, I don't know. Like I know God gave it to me, but I don't know. I'm a little anxious. I'm a little scared because for one, it's that thing is like we want it to be perfect. But anybody that does something new or does something different, like it's never going to be perfect the first time around, right?
Yeah.
But you just know that if I take that step, I know I'm going to have some more things to improve upon, after the first one, right? So,
Yeah.
what would you tell people that are afraid to just take that leap?
If you're afraid, still do it afraid. There's nothing wrong with being fearful because fear in and of itself is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
So, what you're fearing oftentimes are things that won't even happen. And even if they do happen, learn from it, grow from it. It's okay to have setbacks. You look
Yeah.
at some of the most famous people ever. You look at Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, one of the greatest ball players of all time. That man tried out in junior high,
And then make it.
varsity, and did not make the
You
team.
didn't make it.
Did not make it the first go round,
Did not
people.
make it.
Dick Michael Jordan. But guess what? He did not give up.
He didn't give up.
That
Yeah.
man was practicing. He came back, was ready. And even in high school, they didn't forecast him for being just,
Yeah. Right.
you know. But he
Right.
went on, went to college, and baby shook it up.
Yes.
And look now.
Yes. Sit back and
Yeah.
living large and in charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Living large and in charge.
yeah, don't be afraid of failure. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid of it.
Yes.
Because most people who are super successful have failure.
Yes.
You're gonna
Yes.
have so many failures, and it's gonna be a few successes that catapult you.
Yes. I love that. Yeah, and that's the thing is too, like, don't ever be afraid to try something new. Because for one, you don't know what you're gonna learn from that, right? And then two, it may be just as better as you think that it was gonna turn out. Because when you are given that vision, when you're giving whatever God gives you, like, He doesn't expect for you to say, okay, it has to be 100% perfect. No, He just wants you to take the step just to try, right? And let him guide it. Let him do the rest, because you're just the vessel that he needs just to carry it out, just to push it forward and to pull it
Yeah.
through. So I'm with you on that, because it's like, don't be afraid, because if I would have been afraid to do this podcast, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I wouldn't be so confident and bold in his vision if I was scared. Like, I started afraid, but once I got the hang of it, I was like, oh, this ain't nothing. Like, let's go. Like, come on. I wanna keep doing this. Like, I wanna keep going. But that's the beauty in it though. Once you take that step and you surrender and say, God, okay. Like, and just watch. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be easy. It's not gonna say it's
No,
gonna be easy.
no.
But it's gonna be fulfilling. Like, it's gonna be worth. You're
Yes.
gonna be like, well, God, you right. I'm glad I did speak. I stuck with you. I'm
Yeah.
glad I did do what you told
Yeah.
me to do, because it's happening. So, Cassandra, as we get ready to close, I have a twofold question. The first one is, what's next for Cassandra Hil? Like, what do you have coming up? And then second, if you could tell the people where they can find you, where they want to get in contact with you, or learn more about your business, where can they do that?
Sure. What's next for me? You'll find me in August. I will be one of the keynote speakers at Amplify Her. It is a
Awesome.
great event. There is a boss lineup of women speakers who will bring it for real.
Yeah.
So be sure to grab your ticket for that. It's virtual as well as in person. So either way, you can get in the house,
Yeah.
but tickets are limited. So go ahead and grab your tickets for Amplify Her. You'll find me there in August, as well as I'm super excited, really pushing out my digital course, Unlocking the New True Authentic You. It's a fairly new course
Yeah.
that promotes Black women and us,
Yeah.
the tools in loving ourselves, respecting ourselves,
Yes.
and knowing our worth and showing up as our authentic self. You can learn more about that course and all the amazing things that I'm doing, as well as checking out my blog, where I share so many valuable nuggets there on health, well-being, on my website at CassandraRHill.com,
Yes.
CassandraRHill.com.
Yes. Well, Cassandra, thank you so much for stopping through and talking to me today. I don't know about y'all, but this conversation was amazing. Amazing. And then one more thing. That was the thing I want to ask you too before we close out. If you could leave the viewers and the listeners with anything from this episode, what would you leave them with?
I will leave you with that God sent a flood, but after the flood, he brought a rainbow. So
Mm,
raining will not last forever.
no.
Your rainbow will come.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Ooh. Ooh. I love that. Y'all may need to go on and write that down, cause that was good. That was good. Yes. Yeah, rain don't last forever. Oh, I love that. But see, y'all, but y'all see what I'm saying though? See what I'm saying? Like, this was just an amazing conversation. And Cassandra, I just wish you the best in everything that you have going on. I'm so excited and just so thankful that you thought enough to want to be a part of the You're Not Done Yet podcast. And for that, I am so grateful. And I just know that when the viewers or the listeners see this or hear this episode, that it's going to change lives. And I am just super duper excited about that. So with that being said, make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at You're Not Done Yet Pod, and your host me at It's Andrea B on Instagram. And mark your calendars, September 26th, we are doing another live podcast. You heard me. September 26th. Tickets will be released soon. But until next time, this has been an amazing episode of the You're Not Done Yet podcast, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.